Hey, what up, guys? Welcome to the Do Work Podcast. I am your host, Andy Dooley, aka Mr. Do Work. And if this is your first time here, this is where we have conversations with highly successful people in their sphere of influence. You will hear inspirational stories that can help motivate and inspire you to step out of your acceptable to exceptional. You will learn about the turning points when it all changed for them to truly commit and focus on attaining their goals. Guys, welcome to the Do Work Podcast show. Super excited to have this guest on today because he's actually impacted me from afar. And I actually found him first on YouTube while I was doing research on social media and doing research on podcasting as I was getting started with my podcast. And I came across some of his videos, and what he specializes is he makes weekly videos on podcasting, social media, and other tools to help you do your passion in business. So I thought it would be essential for us to have him on the show today. Hey, Ben.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm super excited to be finally chatting with you, man. I know we've talked a bit over Instagram, but there's nothing that compares to this. So I'm excited.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited about it. And I wanted to, take the listeners through a journey for them to hear how you got to where you're at, because you're doing amazing right now. And it's kind of crazy to see how the rapid growth that's taking place on your YouTube platform, and to see that it wasn't just happenstance. This was strategically planned. From what I see in your videos and you talk about, this wasn't just a lucky thing. This is something you've planned out. And I like to, unpack some of those things. And so I want you to tell us where YouTube started for you, because I looked back and when I was doing my research, your YouTube channel started with fitness, bro.
It did, man. It did.
Tell us a little about that.
So I think that started. Okay, so I think that's obviously where it started. That's so awesome that you took the time to go back and look at that. So I'll leave it on there as a reminder to see where I started. So that's awesome that you stumbled across that. But I'd say fitness was what really got me into consuming a lot of YouTube. So I became really big fans of a bunch of fitness personalities, influencers, whatever word you want to assign to them. But I was just seeing the businesses and the lifestyles and like the careers that they were building for themselves off of the YouTube platform. And the fact that it was so tightly connected to something that they were so passionate about and they were helping people at the same time, that was just insane to me. I thought that was crazy, the opportunity that was right there. I always thought that I would be a YouTuber. I told people even when I was in high school, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm going to be a YouTuber. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, Ben. Okay, whatever. But then I was very into fitness. I played football the majority of my life, and fitness was a big aspect of that. Right. So I figured I'd start there because I thought there was more of an opportunity there. And then when I started into it, I started making some videos. I would say why I stopped was because I think it's very, very important when it comes to YouTube or anything in life to do the things that you're uniquely good at. I love fitness, but I would say I'm nothing like you. Do you know what I mean? Like you're a 10 out of 10 when it comes to fitness. I'm probably like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. So it's like that's why I wouldn't find success there, because I'm not a 10. Whereas when it comes to social media, the podcasting, I'm a 9 or a 10. Yeah. So I know that I can help people there. So that's why I switched, and that's super awesome that you found that.
Bro, go ahead.
It's like I just found myself that if I'm competing against people like you, I'm not going to find success, right? So that's why I was like, I got to switch lanes.
That is so good. I don't know if people grab that nugget. You have to really go after what you know that you're good at, or know the lane that you would do well in, and just maximize that lane. And I think that's where it starts. Obviously, some people will tell you can only do this. There's only one way to do this to reach this goal. I think it's nothing wrong with failing and trying a ton of different things. But as soon as you know what you're good at, that's going to be your moneymaker. That's where the things are going to be able to open up other doors for you to be able to do other things. And I think you're so right about that, because even with my first time experiencing one of your videos was obviously through social media and YouTube podcasting information, which was gearing me up for this very moment. And your content and what you're putting out there is so well done. It's to the point, it's clean, it's crisp, and very informative. And I think for everyone out there listening to this podcast, if you're trying to start a podcast, start a YouTube, or build your social media, they need to listen to you, Ben. They really need to check out your content. And so that's really interesting that you went from fitness. So what position did you play in football?
I played running back and linebacker.
Oh, okay. Were you nice?
I would consider myself nice, but I definitely could have used a little more speed, but I got the job done.
Yeah, I see that you're a Team Up North fan.
I am. I am. That's too funny, man. I love going back and forth with you on your photos about you people.
That's all right, man. I'm not gonna hold it against you. Obviously, I got you on the podcast.
That's
So,
it, man. That's it. All love.
but yeah, man. So one of the things I was wanting to ask you right now, because a lot of people want to know, how do I blow up my YouTube channel? Because I'm seeing all these people out here. This is their life. This is their job. They're 9 to 5. They're making a lot of money, but they're just jumping on YouTube, throwing up videos, and expecting a dream to happen. What
Yeah.
would you tell them, those people who are really trying to monetize and build their YouTube platform? And then we'll go on to Instagram a little bit later, but specifically YouTube. What would be your Ben's special tips?
For sure. And I can go so many which ways about YouTube, but I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. When it comes to YouTube, there's a few things that you got to make sure before you even get into the game. One, you need to be very, very patient. And as someone who's competitive myself and definitely wants many, many things for myself and the people around me, it's difficult to be patient.
Yeah.
But I think how you remain patient through all of it is just seeing the opportunity that you have. Growing up in high school, I was a kid from a small town in Canada, and I always talked like I was gonna be someone of influence in whatever I did, and even my own family members were like, "Yeah, that's not possible. Like that's a pipe dream." But YouTube makes it not a pipe dream. It makes it a matter of something that you can actually create and control. So that was just like mind blowing to me. And then when you make it about content, and this is super paramount for anybody who is listening, you have to be uniquely good at it. So like I said, you should at least be a 9 or a 10 on the subject, and you need to love it and be willing to remain a 10, because these things change and things adapt. So if you don't have the willingness to stick with it, you're not going to remain successful. And then again, the patience thing comes down to, you got to invest. Like if you don't give yourself a year of consistency on this, you need at least that. Like at least my mom and my sister are currently starting a channel, and it's so difficult because when you first start out, your view numbers are so low, and it's so easy to get discouraged. But it's a game, and this is the easiest way I can put it into real world things, because I think that's the easiest way to understand things.
Right.
Is that YouTube is a business themselves. When they start showing people your videos, they're taking a gamble on you. So they're going to take the gamble on who is the safest bet. So if you create videos sporadically about things all over the map, that is not a safe bet in the eyes of YouTube. They're not going to show your content to people. So that's why it's so important to build that trust, build that authority in your space, and then they'll show love to you. And I've witnessed that in my channel. Like when I try to switch lanes even a little bit, YouTube's like, you shouldn't do that, and then my views would be terrible. So it's like, I always encourage experimenting, because if you think the video needs to be made, then absolutely make it. But YouTube's definitely something that you can control if you're willing to put in the time and the grind to do that. And when I was researching how to make all these videos for the fitness stuff, that's when I learned that I loved how these systems work, and the fact that you can actually control the game. That's what really appealed to me. So patience, you need to be really skilled and willing to get even better.
That's great. So you want to be really skilled, obviously. Be patient and consistent.
Yes. Can't stress that enough.
Yeah, because that's one thing I can and that coincides with anything pretty much in life, whatever you want to be successful in. Because one of the things I say is consistency plus discipline plus patience will equal success. And,
absolutely.
And that patience part, I would think, right next to consistency would probably be the biggest game changer for you, because you might be right there on the brink of explosion and then you quit.
Yeah. And so many people make that mistake. I think how you can get around that trap is to remember how excited you were when you got your first win of any size. Like I remember go back to the beginning of my channel. If like 10 people watched my video, I was fired up. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you need to remain like that childlike optimism where you're like, that is a huge deal to you. And if you can carry that going forward, it allows you to keep consistent and not let the small losses here and there hinder you as much, because you still get equally as excited about the little bit of wins or the fact that anyone's taking the time to listen to what you have to say. It's pretty cool.
Oh, so a person that's getting ready for you, like you know what, Ben, I hear you. How do I figure out what my lane is? How do I
Yeah.
figure out why would people come to my YouTube channel? What is it that I need to do to figure that out? What would you tell them?
I love that question. That's a big reason why my channel exists, because like my thing, I would say, is helping other people do their thing. That's probably how I would coin it.
Mm,
So the only way you find that stuff out is by doing as many things as possible. But I need to add a little piece to that. It's doing things and remaining consistent with them to find out if you're good or if you're not. Because
oh,
so many people will go into something, give it like not, they won't even give it a real go, and then they'll say, "Oh, that's not for me." Well, you don't know that. You didn't give it an accurate or real chance.
mm,
So I think it's knowing when to quit, but also having the perseverance to actually get to that point where it is blatantly obvious that this is not your lane. Let's try the next one. And that's completely okay. You're going to have learned things that you can carry over with you. So when you do get in the right lane, and everything will work and it will just be super smooth.
that's awesome. That's one of the things I noticed with YouTube was I remember I had started a YouTube channel and I put a couple videos up there. Didn't really think of consistency or really, I didn't understand the space
Mm-hmm.
truthfully. Then I started saying, hey, you know what? I think I want to really add more value and take this thing serious because I went to the LA Fit Expo in
Yep.
Los Angeles, right? And I ran across, who was it? Chris, gosh, what is his name? He has a fitness channel. He is hilarious. But I was talking to him and I was like, okay, bro, do you really get paid from YouTube? Because you know we don't see it if you're not hitting the marks, so you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
And then he pulled out a check out of it as if maybe he gets this question all the time.
Yes, we
But
do. Everyone does.
everyone does, right? So, but it was like a photocopy, obviously, that he took off from AdSense, you know?
Yep.
And he showed me the figure that he made. And from that moment on, I won't put it on here how much he made.
Of
But
course.
that moment when I saw that, that sparked something in me. And so what I told myself, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this 6 months and I'm gonna literally post every single week and treat it as a TV show.
Yeah.
No matter what. Just like your favorite TV show, if it doesn't come on Wednesday, you're upset.
Exactly.
So it was crazy to see how much things started to change. And it was slow in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And it's still not like booming yet, but it was slow in progression. And then all of a sudden, I saw a snowball effect of subscribers, people starting to comment, and then the views go up. But it's crazy random on which videos go viral, you know? And so, what would you tell someone who's like, how do I create a viral video?
Yeah.
Is there a secret sauce to that?
So one thing I want to touch on that you said during that last solid nugget that you just dropped there was that you said I want to provide value. That's one thing that I also forgot to mention, is that you have to remember that this is like a value exchange platform. That's how I view YouTube. So if you're not filling that role, no one's going to watch you, because that doesn't make sense for them. And value comes in many different ways, but
Right.
that has to be at the forefront in mind. And then when it comes to creating a viral video, I wouldn't say that there is like a repeatable process to creating a viral video, but there is definitely a repeatable process to making like I call it like this. I use baseball. Like I have a ton of doubles and triples on my channel. I don't have my home run yet.
Mm,
I haven't had my home run yet, but I can hit a double or triple almost always. And that's because of I learned how YouTube functions and I do things the right way. And the other thing is I know my audience, and that's super, super paramount.
yeah.
Regardless of how small, I'll post a video and it's crazy, man. I'll literally be like, it's gonna get this many views, and I am dead close most times.
Man.
It's weird because you learn your audience, and I spend tons of time looking at my analytics, and I know the mind of who I'm looking for, and I'll post a video and being like, this isn't going to do well, but I still want to post it. So like you have to balance that too.
Right. I think that's so great. You just dropped a nugget that I don't even think you realize. You pay a lot of attention to your analytics. And would you would you tell people that that is extremely important for them to pay attention to? Because I talk to some people and I'm like, hey, have you checked your analytics to see where you're at? And they're like, no, I'm just posting and throwing up there.
Oh,
What would you say to someone like that?
yes, man. You need to be looking at this all the time. It's like for your industry, it's like that's like someone going on a diet, not tracking what they eat. Like,
Oh, preach.
how is that going to work, right? So it's of course you need to know what's going on with your system. Otherwise, how can you improve? How do you know what's working, and more importantly, how do you know what's not? Like you can't answer those questions until you seek to ask them, and the only way you can do that is by digging into the analytics, which they provide to you for free. So yes, if you're not looking at your analytics, go watch some videos learning how to use the analytics, which I have some videos coming in my channel, so I'll plug that right now. But you definitely want to learn. You want to learn how that all works because that stuff's super important.
Oh man, that's so good. So a person just getting started in the game, they're like, hey, I want to get started on podcasting.
Yeah,
What would you tell them that you have learned right now, 5 things not to do as
not
you
to
get
do.
ready to get started for a podcast? There's tons of stuff out there and things to do, and I'll have you
Yeah.
give a few of those things. But what are 5 things that you said that you would be like, you know what, if I knew this before I got into podcasting, I wouldn't have done
Yeah.
that.
Okay. I would say one of them would be don't get into it thinking that it's going to be money for you. Because if that is your primary driver and motivation, you will not have the willingness to stay and the grit to go through it all because it's a very long process to find success. Uh,
So
the early the early movers advantage is far gone from podcasting. That used to be a thing where a lot of the big shows we know today, they were on the platform first. So that advantage is completely gone. So you're going to need to be in for the long haul. The next thing I would say that you need to avoid is getting into analysis paralysis and thinking that you need the best equipment. You can get the ball rolling and get a decent sounding quality product. And that's what I think is super important. A lot of people stress out and they're like, oh, it has to be like an $800 mic. No, no, no. You can get the job done and it can be a consumable product
mm-hmm.
with a very low budget. So don't let that be a limiting factor. That's just another excuse that's gonna, if that stops you, then something else down the road is just gonna stop you too. So you just need to get started. The third thing is don't get don't feel like you have to be stuck. So this thing is very fluid. It can move as you change, especially if you're a young person like I was when I started my show. I was like 19.
Yeah.
So I was super, super young. I think I know what I want to do, but I don't have a damn clue. You know what I mean? So
Right,
it's
right.
it's totally okay to switch. So when I first started my show, for example, I was thinking I was just going to talk to people my age. I was like, oh, this is just going to be like young millennials talking about their course through life. By my third episode, I had already changed that. I was like,
Right.
you know
Yeah.
what? Never
Yeah.
mind. I'm changing that. And then I've also
Absolutely.
since changed the name of my show and the general direction. So all that stuff is totally fine and that can change. What else would I say don't do? I would say I think this is one that you kind of would want to do is get the value that's out there. So understand that you might not be getting paid anything physically or monetarily. Like, you may not be receiving anything, but
Right.
conversations like this, the fact that you and I are speaking right now, you can't put a price tag on that, or like there's no
Man,
money going into your account, but that is worth so much more than any small paycheck or any paycheck in general.
so
Like
true.
that's what I'd say is like that. Let that be your primary focus, and that way the money will never matter. You'll never stop, and your content will just get better and better.
Right. That's great. And the one of those nuggets you could pull out of that is figure out what it is that you love in this space and then dive into it and just have fun and be better in it because it's going to take time regardless. And
For
when it's
sure.
something you love, it's not work. And then when it's not work and you're actually just producing, having fun, putting out content, it's going to come back to you. People are going to feel the energy that we're having on this. We clearly love what we're talking about right now. We clearly love what we do in our social media spaces. And people can feel that and see it. And you attract the people that vibe with you the same way. And so if you want to be successful in this space, you have to obviously be doing it because you love doing it. The money will come. That's what I
100%.
that's what I'm hearing from you.
Absolutely. Passion, money has a way of finding its way to passion. So if you can focus on the things and just continue to do the right ones, then money will find its way to you. If you go into it with your sole focus and concern being money, it has a funny way of avoiding it.
Yeah, those were great. Now, obviously, Instagram's been around for a
Yeah.
while, and these algorithms are ridiculous. It's always changing. And right now, even I would say, even 2020's switch up has changed the
Yeah.
game for Instagram. And what would you, because I remember seeing a podcast that you spoke about, or a YouTube video called I Ruined My Instagram Account. Don't do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
What did you do that you say ruined your Instagram account? And have
Yeah.
you bounced back from it?
Yeah, so that was definitely a bit of clickbait. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was, but there was some definite sincerity there as well. So what I did is I'd seen a lot of people that I knew, and a lot of people, some even relative authority figures within the social media space, because I always stay on top of that. I consume as much as I can and try to learn from everybody. A
Right.
lot of the people were advocating doing loop giveaways,
Oh,
which for
yes.
anybody unfamiliar, what it is so either it's put up by like an influencer network, a specific influencer, or a company. And what they do is they go onto a page with a very big following. They offer a prize, and how you enter for that prize is by following everyone that account is following.
Yep.
So you get an influx of thousands and thousands of followers very, very quickly. And it seems awesome. You're like, that's a great, cheap way to get followers. But like I suspected, I'm like, that can't be good. And I figured out reasons along the way. And so I did it basically as a test, and all of my hypotheses were correct. So why it's bad is because even if it's in your niche, which that's the biggest argument that I get from people who are pro loop giveaway.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, this is in my niche. If they see my content, they're gonna love it. That may happen for like 5% of the people that follow you. That is, the negatives are not worth that 5% whatsoever. And let me tell you why. Because when you get all these thousands of followers, very quickly there's going to be an attrition rate where people, like at least 10%, are going to quickly go back after the contest is over and unfollow you.
Right.
That is terrible in the eyes of Instagram. Next, when you post, tons of people are going to come across that piece of content. They're going to click on your page. They're either going to scroll past it or they're going to unfollow you. That is terrible for your page. Then your typical engagement rate, let's say your page was around like a 8 to 10 level engagement rate. Then with all this influx of followers and not that same amount, proportionate increase in engagement, your engagement rate is going to plummet. Another terrible indicator for Instagram. So all of those different factors basically will absolutely destroy your chance to grow organically on the platform. It's basically like it can become like a near death sentence.
Wow.
So
and that makes sense.
Yes, it makes total sense. And I did that. And then so I did that and I got like 15,000 followers. So I was at like 23 or 24,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So then after the experiment, I only posted once because I wanted to prove that this was accurate without destroying my engagement. So right after I posted, I then went through and I manually got rid of 15,000 people.
Wow.
So it was a grind, man. But I was like, I wanted to prove a point, and it was proven. And I'm like, oh my god, this is grind, but I'm gonna have to do this.
Wow, you're committed, bro. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I had some sore thumbs the next few days for sure.
Oh, I'm sure. So then, how would you tell people to improve their engagement? Because that's extremely tough too in this space right now, especially where the algorithm is. It's not about, because so many people feel it's all about followers. If my follower numbers are not high, then I'm not doing it on Instagram. And really, the micro influencers they can even have 3,000 followers,
for sure,
2,000 followers, but their engagement rate is crazy, then these brands will reach out to them because guess what? You have such influence in this small niche of people in your little tribe that if you tell them about my brand of shoes or makeup or whatever it is that you are, partnering with, they're going to listen to you and respond to it and connect with you. How do you build up that kind of tribe, that kind of engagement on your Instagram?
Yeah, I think you dropped a ton of things that made my answer very, very easy. So I appreciate you for that. But the first thing is, like, the saying that there's the niches are where the riches are, or however you want to turn that, is very, very true, especially when it comes to social media. Very similar to how I describe YouTube. It's very similar that they want to show you to people who are going to be interested in your content. So if your stuff's all over the map, it makes it difficult for Instagram to do its job of finding you the right audience. So I think definitely having a niche offering is very, very important. The second thing is people fall into the trap of creating stuff for them. That's not the whole point of this fact, is that this stuff's being consumed by people who want this information, or comedy, whatever it may be, whatever the value is for that specific niche or what you're offering. It's not for you. So many people will post a picture and they're like, "Oh, this is great content." Well, you can't decide that. Your audience decides that.
Mm.
So
You
that's a huge problem.
you just hit on a major point there. Major point. This is not for you if you're trying to be successful and monetize in this space. Now, your Instagram can be just for you if you just want it to be, this is what I post. Initially, what Instagram was for instant photos. I want to post that I'm at this ice cream parlor. Cool. I just want to post family photos. Cool. But if you're trying to make this a business and monetize from it, you have to be doing this for the other people. Not saying that you are creating your Instagram content based off of other people and you're changing your values and morals. No, know yourself and who you are and what you're providing that's going to actually help people. Like you're doing right now. In this space, you're providing so much content to help people in podcasting, YouTubing, social media, and help better themselves and be, passionate and successful in their businesses. That's what you're doing. So what is it that, as a person on Instagram or whatever social platform that you're using, what are you doing? What are you providing for people out there that they can gain? There's a book by Gary V called Jab, 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 Right Hook.
Yeah.
Have you read that book?
I have not, but I'm familiar with the concept.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the book is amazing. And that basically the concept is all the jab, jab, jab is free content, free content, free content, free content. And the right hook will be whatever that content is or whatever product you want to sell or give to people.
The ask. Exactly.
And so if you aren't providing information and content for people that they can take away and it can improve their lives, you're not going to be able to progress like you want to and have the end result that you're looking for. Would you agree?
100%. No, I would totally agree. And I think I love about how you approach that is the fact that you mentioned that you showed the difference. Like people who want this to just be a place to post to their immediate family and friends, that's fantastic. That's great. I get so many comments on my videos saying like, "Oh, you're one of those people who just cares about followers. Like social media isn't about that." It's like, okay, well, if you're running a business, it is about numbers. So yes, it is. Like I don't understand why people mix up the two. It can be both, and both can still be equally great. It's all about your intended purpose and your intent when going out and using any sort of social media platform. And the third thing that I was going to mention is the fact that how important true, genuine relationships are on Instagram. They can track like how you've interacted with your audience and the accounts that follow you and whatnot. So if you aren't truly engaging with your community, there's going to be negative repercussions because of that. I know once you start and get the ball rolling, you get a ton of messages once you're serving a community, and it can become difficult, but it is so imperative that you maintain and foster those relationships. So what I do to do that is I'll set aside time every week to try to reply to as many people as possible. On Friday, I think I replied to all my DMs. It took me like 3 hours, but it was still well worth it because, and this is the one thing that's I actually got this from Steve Bartlett. So anybody who doesn't know who he is, he's like a social media legend. He runs Social Chain, which is a huge digital agency. So he actually gave me this nugget, and he replies to everybody with a voice note. So that's how you and I communicated, and that's why we're instantly like friends, because it's a very personal way to interact with people.
So true.
Plus, and this is for all you creators out there, if somebody's DMing you, it's very, very likely you're not the first creator that they've DM'd, but you could be the first one that replies. And that is insane. And that will create a lifelong fan, supporter from a 1 minute reply via voice message.
Wow.
and that's not even a stretch. People are blown away when you reply to them and you take the time to actually read what they have said and speak back to it with your voice so they know it's you. That is incredibly powerful. And that is probably one of the most undervalued tools that's currently available for you easily on Instagram. So I would say engage with your audience as much as possible because Instagram knows the level of relationship that you have with your community.
Ben, that was powerful. Guys, while you're listening to this podcast, if there's anything you do not pull, make sure you pull that. I will tell you firsthand, when I reached out to Ben and he responded to me with a voice memo, that's exactly how I felt. I was like, wow, this is personal. He took the time to send me a voice memo. That means he actually cared about my comment in response to him. And so from that point on, we've been voice memoing back and forth.
Exactly.
And it felt like that's why right now getting on a podcast just feels normal because we've been having conversations back and forth through our DMs. And there was one other lady that did the same thing with me that made me feel the same exact way. And that right there is such an undervalued, I would say, skill in social media right now. I wish, to be honest, I mean, I guess live would be the version of that, but I wish that even in our comment section, we were able to do stuff like that.
That'd be crazy, man.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
That would be. One way you can get around doing that is obviously like the comment and reply to it, but you could also start a conversation by sending them a voice memo over DM. But yeah, that would be crazy to be able to do that personally right there. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, the interaction would be so much. It could go crazy too, because you can have all these comments down below and hear so many people's different comments, and obviously there's a lot of trolls out there. But the last thing the last thing I want to touch on is TikTok.
Okay.
All right. What's your thoughts on TikTok? Do you feel like, because obviously Gary Vee is telling everyone join TikTok. I'm on TikTok and I just started not too long ago just posting on there. TikTok's fun for me. I like to entertain. I like to have fun. I also like dancing, but it doesn't have to be all about dancing because I still post about my fitness stuff, but you get to see a different side of me through my TikTok. You know, so the one thing I'm noticing, I literally did one video, let's say 3 days ago, and I looked back at it today at this very moment, and it's at 30.1 thousand views or whatever.
Let's go.
And the jump of followers is insane right now. I don't even. What is your thoughts on TikTok? Is it going to be around for the long haul? Obviously, Instagram's going to probably find a way to create its version of it. I know they're working on it. Will TikTok stand the test of time, or will it end up like Snapchat where it's steady trying?
See, and that's the thing is, like, I'll answer the full question, but it doesn't matter. The opportunity is there right now. So why would you care if it's gone even a month from now? If you could build thousands of relationships on there easier than any other platform, you're foolish not to leverage that. And you can attest to that now personally because you've experienced it. And I've dabbled around, and honestly, I still need to get better at being consistent on TikTok because the thing that they have right there is unparalleled organic reach. It's truly off the charts. But the other thing is what you said there at the very beginning was that it's fun for you. It's fun for everyone, and that's why it works.
Yeah,
that's the difference, and that's why Instagram is so scared because Instagram has become the destination for photo and short form video sharing. Absolutely, it's synonymous with culture. It's used everywhere. People say IG, Instagram, like they know everyone knows what that is. Whereas, but with that, there's almost a stigma attached to it where so much stress is put on the level of content and the performance of that content. Whereas TikTok creators, they just create. And that is so powerful because expression and artistic expression, especially, is just let free. And that's why there's so much quality content on there.
I know. And I feel like the creations that the creative stuff that I'm seeing on TikTok is mind-blowing.
It is.
Mind-blowing.
It's getting so much better.
It is. And what you could do is if you leverage it and you're smart enough, you can take some of the skills and things that you're learning or seeing on TikTok and literally add it into some of your repertoire of entertaining and creating on Instagram.
For sure. And I think a big thing with TikTok that I think a lot of people shy away from it is the fact that they do say like, oh, well, it's just for kids. It's just dance, funny videos. Okay, that may have some sense of legitimacy with people saying that right now.
Right.
But I will say that I've been on the platform for a decently long time. Like I downloaded it when it was still Musically because my little sister used to use Musically. So she's like,
Oh,
no,
yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and a lot of people don't even know that it used to be an entirely different app where it was
Right.
like it was just music.
Yep.
But then so I've been on it for a long time. I've seen the transition, and what I will say is that they're moving more the way of a lot more of a custom tailored experience. They've come so far in terms of giving me content that's specific to my interests. And how I know that is
Yeah.
because I'll find creators that are talking about sports, business, social media so often, and sometimes they won't even be huge creators, but they show them to me because they've now been able to identify that those are interests of mine. And how they do that is from aggregating data based on your consumption habits. So it's just a matter of time where it will become a lot more tailored and less sporadic.
Right. And the cool thing is that, like you mentioned earlier, how organic it is right now. It feels like there isn't just a preference to people. They're just seeing all kinds of content come, and if they like it, they like it.
Yes.
If they vibe with you, they follow you. It doesn't feel like there's this, you know,
There's not the pressure.
no, not at all. You literally could just show, like I just did a TikTok today in Walmart. Just did a video at Walmart and uploaded it. I
Exactly.
wasn't worried about the type of filter, how clean, crisp, what
Exactly.
what camera I use. Because one of the things that I think, well, that I know from what I've been researching is that if you use TikTok's platform the way it's created to, you will see more traction. But if you use it in a form of like TikTok's going to know that you're using this video for Instagram and other things, and it wasn't native to our platform. You can still throw it up there and upload the videos, but it's not going to do as well as if you actually recorded it out of TikTok, use their different filters, their different little nuances that they have within the app, and it seems to get more traction.
Yeah, and I think that a big reason for that too is because whenever possible, I always advocate that people create for the platform. So understanding how things are consumed on TikTok is you want to create for that consumption behavior because if you try to create a long form video like you would on YouTube, it's just not going to play on TikTok. It won't work. What you could do
Right.
though, instead of using that as say like a drawback saying I can't, why not put like a few little Coles notes of your video that you just posted on YouTube, break down the hard hitting points, and then leave them with a hook saying, "Oh, do you want to get the last tip? Go watch my full video on the YouTube channel." I've
So
done that before, and
so
it's free traffic.
so true. That's great. Well, Ben, thank you. So honestly, we could keep this going on. I could make this like a
Sure.
2 hour conversation, but I want to maybe we'll do a part two down the road. But I
Yeah,
just
let's do
wanted
it,
to
man.
ask. I wanted to ask a couple questions right now. What are one of your favorite quotes that you live by?
So this is one that I've, I swear I've heard it somewhere, but I've looked it up and there's no one taking credit for the quote, so I'll take credit for it. But it's life is the only game where you decide how the score is kept, and as long as you're winning, nothing else should matter. And that's something that I've always lived my life by is that no one else's opinion should really matter as long as you're not hurting anybody, you're not bringing anyone down, and as long as you're happy, that's all that matters.
So good. I agree with that so much because I think we stifle ourselves we hold our progress back from worrying about what everyone else thinks. At the end of the day, you live with you. You have to deal with the repercussions of you. And if
Yeah.
you're
And,
worried about everyone else,
And I will say this, you're absolutely right. And for anybody who struggles with that and they do struggle with peer pressure or external pressures at all, is that it's not something that is you either have or you don't. It's a learned behavior and it's a muscle that you can grow through training it. So what I did to slowly get better at caring less about what people think is that whenever I felt that little tingly in my belly, like I was nervous, I forced myself to do that. I counted down from 3 and I did that thing. So then essentially
Mm,
you build up a muscle and you build up the tolerance to where you do kind of go numb to the things that once would be limiting to you. So I don't think that because how you are today doesn't mean that you can't be completely different a year or 2 years from now.
so
Obviously, it's going
good.
to take time and effort, but it's totally possible.
That's awesome. What are 3 people that inspire you right now that you would say on Instagram, I make sure I follow them because they bring inspiration to me?
That's really good. That's tough. I guess that would really depend in specifically who they're the plug for, if that makes sense. Like it would depend on like what the person was looking for. It just like in my field.
In your field, for you, for Ben.
Okay, for me, I would say that Gary Vee. I think he's one of the. I think that's an easy answer, but he's a social media marketing genius.
Yes.
I think that's fair to coin him with that. So I would definitely give him that. And then a few other people that are really really good is this guy. I don't know him personally, but Farokh is his name, Farokh, and so he's one of the OGs in the Instagram growth community, and he's got a ton of big pages,
Okay.
and his strategies are just very very unique, and he gets culture, which I think is why he's so successful.
Mm-hmm.
And he grows his personal brand by just simply leaving comments that get like hundreds of thousands of upvotes and likes.
Wow.
So it's crazy, and just to see that like he's built all of this stuff simply from just being on it and being consistent. So I think he's awesome in terms of in social media. And then if I had to give you one more, I'm a big fan of Vanessa Lau. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her.
Nope.
So she's her and I are in very similar niches. She's in the social media space. She's a young entrepreneur. Also, she's Canadian too. So
Okay.
that probably helps as well. But she's
Shout out
great.
to the Canadians.
That's it, man. That's it. So what she's really good at is she's really good at the things that I'm terrible at. So that's why she's so valuable to me, is that all of the stuff, that the boring stuff, like the taxes, the real business stuff, like I hate that stuff. It's very, very annoying to me, but it's you have to do it. It's part of the game. And so she's one of the few people that actually goes into that stuff, like talking about your bookkeeping. It's not sexy stuff, but you got to do it, right? So I think Vanessa Lau is a good mix of like tactical stuff and then practical stuff. So she's another person that's a must follow for sure. Big fan of her stuff.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ben. This has been truly a pleasure. I've learned so much from listening to you. I learned so much from listening to and watching you online and all the things that you're doing. I appreciate that you would take the time out to talk to me and the listeners and my audience. Where can they find you? What are your handles? Let them know so they can come see exactly what I'm talking about when I gloat about you.
For sure. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on here, Andy. It's super awesome to chat with you. Like you said, we could probably do this for hours, and I'm sure we will in the future. But for anybody who wants some more or is looking for some more specific to what we talked about today, you can find me over on YouTube, which is my channel is just my first and last name, so Ben Leavitt. Leavitt spelled Leavitt. And then over on Instagram, it's Ben Leavitt _. The guy who has just my name wouldn't sell it to me, so I have to use the underscore. And then, I'm still working on them. Hopefully, I get it eventually. And then I'm on Twitter. I don't tweet very often, but it's just Ben Leavitt _ there as well.
Awesome. Well, Ben, thank you so much. We appreciate you and look forward to talking to you soon.
Absolutely. Let's do it, man.
All right, bro.
Cheers. Thank you.
Later.
All right. That is it for today. We all know the major impact happens after the show. It's what you do with the information and how you apply these gems. So come find me on Instagram at Andy L. Dooley, ANDYLDOOLEY, and let me know your thoughts about today's show. Also, please leave a 5-star rating and a comment. That helps boost the podcast. I'm going to start reading some of your comments on the show at the beginning of each one. Take a screenshot as well of you listening and post on your Insta story, and I'll repost it or read some of the comments on air as well. Hey, I look forward to seeing you again. Talk to you very soon.